Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a very special Rana's Rants. I'm here with my Rana Goodman, and we're going to talk about things that are going on in your life. So I appreciate you coming in today, dear.
What part of my life? I have a very busy life.
Yes, you do, and I know all about it. Let's talk about the latest development you have, latest project you have for the Vegas Force. Go ahead. What's going on now?
Right now, I've been investigating healthcare issues, healthcare centers, rehab centers, acute care, and the little attention they seem to be paying to their senior patients. I don't know about the younger ones, haven't heard from them, but what they're doing with seniors is appalling.
It is, to say the least. And toward that end, and we're going to have a discussion on that, is we have a seminar coming up at Sun City McDonald Ranch on February 20th.
February 20th, 2 o'clock.
And what is that about?
It's going to be an update on guardianship because it hasn't gone away and vanished. It's still quite active. And also on a program we're calling Final Wishes, which is similar to Death with Dignity that we've been trying to get into the legislature and voted on for the last 3 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the name Final Wishes, so that's what we've gone because it is, the idea is for it to represent our final wishes, the individual person. The government, in my opinion, shouldn't dictate to us how we live or how we die. And that's the key point.
And before we go into it, very briefly about guardianship. Again, we've been working on it, and you've been working on it for years and years and years.
Right.
And we have something called the guardianship nomination form. What is that about?
We pushed through a bill within the legislature a couple of sessions ago where you can name the person you want to be your guardian should the need arise, rather than allowing a court to appoint a guardian for you, which is usually a stranger. And what we found in our work on guardianship is they literally suck you dry.
Yeah.
So with this way, let's say I want to name my daughter, a sister, if I had one, to be my guardian should the need arise. What happens then is somebody else comes along and decides, oh, you got a healthy income. I think I'll go for guardianship of you and
They
take
just
that.
want to take it.
Just take it like the private guardians have always done. In this way, once you have filled out the guardianship nomination form, filed it with the Secretary of State, and someone comes along like that and decides they're going to go for guardianship of you, the court clerk must call the Secretary of State and see if you have ever filed a nomination form. If you have, that ends the case because the court can't overrule that. Who you pick, you pick.
And it's a very simple answer to a problem that we found for years and years.
Right.
Especially if you wanted your guardian to be a resident that was just not in the state of Nevada.
Right. And when we started with it, if you didn't live in Nevada, you couldn't be a resident of Nevada's guardian.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to, which is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And as soon as we mentioned it to legislators, that bill went sailing through. So now you can name anybody, anywhere as your guardian. You just have to make sure you notify them so they're aware, and somebody will notify them if anything were to happen to you that they were needed.
Now watch this. We will be giving out the guardianship nomination forms at
Correct.
the seminar. And how much are we charging?
Absolutely nothing.
So when you hear about these attorneys say for $100 I can do it, it's really a ripoff.
Exactly, it's a ripoff.
So again, we'll have those forms. You're also going to discuss about the guardian or the protected person's Bill of Rights.
Yes, and we will have copies of that to hand out to anybody who wants it.
Yeah.
Because I spoke with a lady just yesterday, as a matter of fact, that told me her mother, who has Alzheimer's and has been giving treatment for Alzheimer's for the last 20 years, her brother came out of prison and wanted the mother to live with him so he could take Social Security and whatever else she had coming in. They went to court, and outside of family court, which is really quite funny, there is a huge poster board that has the Bill of Rights printed on it. The judge overruled almost everything that was on there. He wasn't allowed to become the mother's guardian because he has a felony record, and you're not qualified to be a guardian in that case. However, they allowed the mother to live with him, and now he's stopping his siblings from ever seeing the mother or talking to her, which is one of the top things on the Bill of Rights.
Positively.
So we'll be handing that out so people know what they're entitled to and what they're not.
And we also have another project called Final Wishes,
Right.
which is a little bit like Death with Dignity. Talk a little bit about that.
I've had a lot of friends in the past few years pass from cancer, one with not Hodgkin's disease,
Lou Gehrig or
Lou Gehrig's
ALS,
disease,
sure.
thank you, Lou Gehrig disease. And they've just gone through a terrible time in that final stage of their life. My own father had some immune disease that was having the white blood cells eat up all the red blood cells, and he was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And he used to say to me constantly when I'd go over to see him, if you loved me, you'd help me end this. And my answer always, my stock answer was, if you loved me, you wouldn't ask me to. The medication is right there. You can help yourself. If I help you, I go to jail. Then who takes care of mom?
Yeah.
So it just seemed to me he was in his late 80s. He wasn't going to get better. And it should have been his decision to go to his doctor and say, I want to end this. So long as it's their decision. We were afraid of a slippery slope. But in this case, if we can get the final wishes passed, the patient themselves has to have a diagnosis that their condition is fatal, that they have no more than 6 months to live. They have to ask the doctor for the medication. They have to give it to themselves.
Administered, yep.
So nobody else can override and say, oh, okay, Pop's got lots of money. Let's get him out the way. Things like that. Nothing nefarious.
There are a number of safeguards in the proposed
Right, in the
bill.
bill, yes.
Yeah, so it is, but again, it is a consideration.
Right.
And yet there are other states that have these.
Right, there's a lot.
dignity.
California, Colorado, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Maine, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Vermont, and in Washington.
So, it's not like something out of the ordinary.
No,
It's around.
Right.
And yet what we need more than anything else are petitions.
Petitions signed.
Yeah.
Right. We want to do basically the same thing we did with guardianship, go into the legislature and stack those petitions high.
And that is why at the seminar, we'll also be giving out the petitions. They're not obligated to follow the law if they
Right,
don't want to, but
right.
it's just an option.
Right.
And going up to Carson City to meet with the legislators, you enjoy doing that?
I love doing it.
Yeah.
Because Nevada, believe it or not, even though like Las Vegas has more than 2 million people already, but Nevada is still a small state. And if you remember the first time we went up to the legislature, I asked the security guard at the desk that was checking passes, why don't you have security on the doors? How do you know someone's not going to come in here with a gun or whatever? And he said, because this is the people's house. And it's going to stay that way. And I love that.
Yeah, it was a nice comment.
Yeah.
Very nice indeed. All right, so people can see you, meet with you, talk to you. Go ahead, one more time. Give me the date, time, and place, and we'll also put it on the screen.
Right there.
Yeah.
And it's February 20th, 2 p.m. at McDonald Ranch.
And again, no charge.
No charge whatsoever.
Okay. And again, this is just one of the things that my Rana Goodman will be doing to help our readers and fellow seniors. So, as always, I thank you so much for being
You're
here.
welcome.
I guess now when we leave, we can go out to lunch. And again, this is Dan Roberts and, of course, Rana Goodman for Rana's Rants. And hopefully we'll see you at the seminar, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.